My city on fire. My city on fire. I'm sorry I fight ya. I'm just trying to be better. Too cold for a sweater. Nah, there's no forever. We on search for better. We on search for better. We on search for better. My city on fire. I'm sorry I fight ya. I'm just trying to be better. Too cold for a sweater. Learn there's no forever. We on search for better. We on search for better. For better. I think they mad that I said something. Ugly nigga for ransom. But my brother's alright. I'm trying to be a provider. Where I'm from is alright. Safer to keep silent. It's hard for me to choose you. Scare my life would abuse you. My city on fire. I'm sorry I fight ya. I'm just trying to be better. Too cold for a sweater. Learn there's no forever. We on search for better. We on search for better. For better.
And I can't wait to tell my mama that I made it. Man, I'm tired of the stressing and I'm tired of this fake shit. I see the vision, say there ain't no being lazy. Gotta wake up early morning, yeah, the money never waiting. My mama showed them different, we ain't worried about your bitches. Stack your dreams, travel far forever, she mentioned. I pray my love a better way in 7 days, cause the people in my city really steady acting shady. R.I.P. dope boy, ain't get to make it through. Man, I'm truly scarred, why it had to be you. Do it on your own, now you have to lose your life. We just wouldn't make it out, sit back and catch a flight.
I'm sorry I fight ya. I'm just trying to be better. Too cold for a sweater. Learn there's no forever. We on search for better. We on search for better. For better.
Keep it real, I don't know who to trust. They love you when you down, but they hate you when you up. How you my brother, but you stealing from me, blood. I just peep shit, now I gotta like a trust. Shit been welling on me, though for real. Ever since my brother died, mama said I need to chill. Baby, take your time, I promise you gotta heal. I just push her to the side, but I still feel it still. I've been hurting, broke past got me spurging. Goo mask, I've been purging. Glizzy cocked back, got my mind set on murder. Got my mind set on murder, my city on fire.
I'm sorry I fight ya. I'm just trying to be better. Too cold for a sweater. Learn there's no forever. We on search for better. We on search for better. For better.
That's kind of like where we're living in this year of 2025. And there are people that just simply believe that they have the right to control or, control. And I'm saying, all my life, I've chosen to live the way I wanted to live. And all those motherfuckers who canceled my had this fudge bar. It was delicious. Uh-huh. Can't put it in the trash can here. The deal is that, this is America. And most people don't even understand that that's relevant. It means it has no relevance to them. They was just born here and they lived here. And hell, from the time they was born to the time they are now, I can't even explain what's going on. Because people don't want to be seen. They don't want people to judge them, but understand people judge every day. You ain't got no control over that. Never did. Because somebody's always got something to say. Mm-hmm. Well, the real deal is that we are only gonna be who we're gonna be, and that's just real. So who is that? Well, hell if I know. Has to do with those trials and tribulations. You know, which ones I'm talking about, right? The ones that are upon you, regardless of who you think you are. Meaning that I'm trying to put this little ice pack behind my little phone here to see if it works. I don't know if it fits in there. No, it doesn't fit in there like that. I have to just take it off the little stick. And there, put it like that. Now it won't overheat because I know usually it starts to get overly heated when I'm talking. So I'm just trying to understand what it is I see. So, in stopping and put a pause on, family values. My mother taught us all family values for the most part. You know, I was single my whole life after I got my divorce. But my sister was married and remarried. And, one of her husbands is deceased, but her initial husband, he's still living. And he's moved on and whatever. Then my baby sister now, she has the husband. She don't have children by her husband, but she has children by her ex-husband. And they raised the children together, and then she had just children. But the deal is, it doesn't matter because that family thing happens. And that responsibility thing, well, my stepfather was a great man. He taught that personal obligation, that personal responsibility. I raised my sons. And yes, I just raised my sons. my three sons. And somebody wanted to talk about the last child that I had because, well, apparently this person was married, but not to me. And he thought that somehow he was going to have that relationship for a long time. And I said, oh no, your wife needs you, and that's where you need to go back. And I never looked back. You know, don't look back, and baby, don't look. I never looked back. And then, for whatever reason, she gonna jump out the blue and reach out to my child because she had been trying to be my friend on Facebook. What for? I have nothing for her. I had nothing for him. I was able to walk away. Let it be that. Oh no, she's gonna reach out to my child. So I had some choice words and I had some choice posts because he was apologizing for his wrongdoing, but he should have been apologizing to his wife, not to me, because I was responsible for my choices and I always accepted my responsibilities as my sons are all adults and they never been incarcerated anywhere. 8:30. Here we go. This facial ID shit is real. Enjoy.
My city on fire. My city on fire. I'm sorry I fight ya. I'm just trying to be better. Too cold for a sweater. Nah, there's no forever. We on search for better. We on search for better. We on search for better. My city on fire. I'm sorry I fight ya. I'm just trying to be better. Too cold for a sweater. Learn there's no forever. We on search for better. We on search for better. For better. I think they mad that I said something. Ugly nigga for ransom. But my brother's alright, I'm trying to be a provider. Where I'm from is all violent. Safer to keep silent. It's hard for me to choose you. Scare my life would abuse you. My city on fire. I'm sorry I fight ya. I'm just trying to be better. Too cold for a sweater. There's no forever. We on search for better. We on search for better. For better.
And I can't wait to tell my mama that I made it. Man, I'm tired of the stressing and I'm tired of this fake shit. I see the vision, said there ain't no being lazy. Gotta wake up early morning, yeah, the money never waiting. My mama showed them different when you worry about your bitches. Take a clean trouble for a fast, but she missing. I feel my love a better way in 7 days, cause the people in my city really steady, acting shady. RIP, no boy ain't get to make it through. Man, I'm truly scarred, why it had to be you? Do it on your own, now you have to lose your life. We just finna make it out, see if they catch a flight.
I'm sorry I fight ya. I'm just trying to be better. Too cold for a sweater. Learn there's no forever. We on search for better. We on search for better. For better.
Keep it real, I don't know who to trust. They love you when you down, but they hate you when you up. Now you my brother, but you still in family blood. I just peep shit, now I gotta like a trust. Shit been rolling on me, though for real. Ever since my brother died, mama said I need to chill. Baby, take your time, I promise you gotta heal. I just push her to the side, but I still feel it still. I've been hurting, broke past got me spurging. Blue mask, I've been purging. Lizzie cocked back, got my mind set on murder. Got my mind set on murder, my city on fire.
I'm sorry I fight ya. I'm just trying to be better. Too cold for a sweater. There's no forever. We on search for better. We on search for better. For better.
So it's just kind of, it's iconic. I think it's insanity that we are still not talking about Let's listen to another song, shall we? Here we go.
Don't forget, we got reasons. Brody in that gym, now you seen them. They didn't have no faith, we was gonna be some. Brody called my phone, we gon' be some. 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 And don't forget, we got reasons. Brody in that jam, now you seen them. They didn't have no faith, we was gon' be some. Brody called my phone, we gon' be some. We gon' be some. We gon' be some. And we gon' be some. We gon' be some. We gon' be some. Look, and Brody off that perk and he can't feel none. Only take these drugs so we can feel none. When we was down bad, they didn't say none. Now niggas touching toe, they wanna see some. Pretty city lights, they really mean some. If you ain't on your shit, you ain't gon' be none. Got up off my ass, I'm gon' be some. Got up off my ass, I'm gon' be some. And I'm shooting for the stars, I'm going farther. And I'm with all my brothers, yeah, we going farther. Took a couple losses, but they won't bother. Yeah, I'm working harder, yeah, I'm working harder. And we got reasons, Brody in the deep end. And yeah, I'm grinding, and all this shit I'm peeping. Won't stop working until I'm living lavish. My mama need it, so I gotta have it. And don't forget, we got reasons. Brody in that jam, now you seen them. They didn't have no faith, we was gon' be some. Brody called my phone, we gon' be some. We gon' be some. We gon' be some. And we gon' be some.
Yeah, we gon' be some. I'm tryna chase my fucking dreams, I'm tryna make a way. You don't understand, you don't understand this pain. Bullets, yeah, they fine, tryna bust your brain. Understand it's cold, yeah, this shit is strange. If you ain't chasing your dream, get the fuck away. I've been on the road, tryna underlay. Brody in my car, bill on the way. You gon' meet me at the mall, I'm splurging, yeah. 150 ball, about to make it rain.
And don't forget, we got reasons. Brody in that jam, now you seen them. They didn't have no faith, we was gon' be some. Brody called my phone, we gon' be some. We gon' be some. We gon' be some. We gon' be some. We gon' be some.
Man up, growing up like a young, nobody believed you. Cause this what set you up for failure. My mama always had me, she told me to be something. My pop showed me a way to be something. It's all a process until we up, gang. Going through every motion, we gon' be something. I gotta be a leader for my people. I gotta be example for my people. I told my brothers and my sisters believe anything. Don't let the world tell you that you're not, man. Cause we gon' be up when that song, man. We gon' be up when that song, man.
And don't forget, we got reasons. Brody in that jam, now you seen them. They didn't have no faith, we was gon' be some. Brody called my phone, we gon' be some. 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 We gon' be some.
So real. Mm-hmm.
November 5th, that was election day, maybe that is the most important, because we made tremendous progress together. And one of the reasons that you're here today is to hear that we are very unhappy, I am, with Russia. Think about James Baldwin. It's his 100th birthday, his centennial, as it were. And I think Baldwin offers us some insight to how we might understand ourselves in this moment, how we arrived here, and how we might imagine a way forward. Is that okay? So I want to begin with a story. Not so much because I'm a storyteller, although there are times when I aspire to be one, but because it is illustrative of what I want to say to you, and of what I take to be a kind of wisdom that not only allows us to endure this madness, and we are all on the verge of madness, but also to flourish. I'm reminded of Baldwin's essay, My Dungeon Shook, a letter to my nephew, on the 100th anniversary of the emancipation. In The Fire Next Time, he said what he had to say to the Howard students can be heard as a distillation of what he tells his nephew. He offers a kind of wisdom born out of hard living. He doesn't want his nephew to suffer the fate of his grandfather, to believe what these folks said about him. He describes America as it is, without the myths and legends that protect its innocence. No, the occasion for this advice, for my words today still, is that we live in a country that has carried its sins forward.
You go in the backyard?
We live in a country that has carried its sins forward. And Baldwin, at that moment, when he's talking to his nephew, he's trying to get him to trust his experiences, to believe that he is more than what the world says about him. They have built the world to reflect the belief that somehow the color of their skin accords them value. And we're hearing it in discourses around immigration. We're hearing it again. They've built the world to reflect that belief, but Baldwin tells his nephew to trust his experience, to trust himself. At that moment, channeling Ralph Waldo Emerson's self-trust. Right? The details, he says, quote, and symbols of your life have been deliberately constructed to make you believe what these folks say about you. And then he tells his nephew, please try to remember that what they believe as well as what they do and cause you to endure does not testify to your inferiority, but to their inhumanity and fear. In October of 1963, Baldwin published in the Saturday Review, The Negro Child, His Self-Image. And the essay would be retitled A Talk to Teachers, in the edited volume of Baldwin's nonfiction writings, The Price of the Ticket. And like our own, Baldwin acknowledged that he was living in a very dangerous time, and he took up the question of education as a kind of preliminary exploration of the tension between the aim of education to socialize our children in the ways of our society and to equip them with the tools to critically assess our society. Baldwin writes, quote, the purpose of education is to create in a person the ability to look at the world for himself, to make his own decisions, to say to himself, this is black or this is white, to describe for himself whether there is a God in heaven or not, to ask questions of the universe, and then to learn with those questions is the way he achieves his own identity. But no society, Baldwin writes, is really anxious to have that kind of person around. What societies really ideally want is a citizenry which simply obeys the rules. If a society succeeds in this, Baldwin writes, that society is about to perish. The obligation of anyone who thinks of himself or herself as responsible is to examine society and to try to change it and to fight it at no matter what risk. This is the only hope society has, Baldwin writes. This is the only way societies change, end quote. Black and brown children, he suggests, experience a certain kind of dissonance in this regard. They grow up in a society which denies them dignity and standing, where a generalized sense of disregard characterizes the society's view of them. And to develop a critical stance towards this place and its views of black and brown people is to risk death. What is asked and demanded is a kind of consent to a host of assumptions about who you are and to the structures that give those assumptions life. As Baldwin put it, it becomes thoroughly clear, at least to me, that any Negro who is born in this country and undergoes the American educational system runs the risk of becoming schizophrenic. What else is double consciousness but a form of madness? Huh? On the other hand, he is born in the shadow of the stars and stripes, and he's assured it represents a nation which has never lost a war. He's a part of a country in which anyone can become president, and so forth. But on the other hand, he's also assured by his country and his countrymen that he has never contributed anything to civilization, that his past is nothing more than a record of humiliations gladly endured, end quote. But we know better. And it is against this reality in the full light of forces aimed at reproducing hierarchies for exploitation that the black and brown child must forge a self. She must find the means to say no to a society that at every turn seeks to condemn her to a certain station in life. And for Baldwin, through his own autobiographical example, to refuse this sentence amounts to an extraordinary act of the will. One decides, and he doesn't give us much by way of how this happens, but one decides to say no to it all, like Barnaby the Scrivener in Melville, I prefer not to. Huh? If you don't know that, you better write it down. To refuse the categorization and to enter into battle against one's societies, as he wrote, quote, so where we are not is that a whole country of people believes that I'm, excuse my language, this is his language. He said, so where we are not is that a whole country of people believes I'm a nigger and I don't, and so the battle is on. End quote. So for Baldwin, one of the paradoxes of education is precisely at the point when you begin to develop a conscience. You must find yourself in some way at war with society. Remember, we have to tell the truth, until we can bear it, and then a little bit more. It is your responsibility to change society if you think of yourself as an educated person. And on the basis of the evidence, moral and political evidence, one is compelled to say that this, Baldwin says, is a backward country. Trump is just the latest evidence. In his essay, The Uses of the Blues, Baldwin clearly states what he takes to be the Negro problem. Quote, I'm talking about what happens to you if, having barely escaped suicide or death or madness or yourself, you watch your children growing up, and no matter what you do, you are powerless. You are really powerless against the force of the world that is out to tell your child that he has no right to be alive. And no amount of liberal jargon and no amount of talk about how well and how far we've progressed does anything to soften or to point out any solution to this dilemma. In every generation, ever since Negroes have been here, every Negro mother and father has had to face that child and try to create in that child some way of surviving this particular world, some way to make the child who will be despised not despise himself. This is the primal scene of instruction. This is the condition under which we reach for higher selves, higher forms of excellences. Why did Langston say life ain't been no crystal state? That Emersonian notion of leaving a self behind and reaching for higher forms of excellences, understanding what it means, right, to reach for a kind of perfectionist impulse in this moment. What does it mean to think about that across the tracks? Under conditions, as Du Bois would say, right, under conditions where you have these two unreconciled strivings, two warring souls, right? For African Americans, to reach for this higher self across the proverbial tracks requires something more fundamental. It requires a confrontation with the reality of this place. There's something monstrous about the country because it refuses to take responsibility for its crimes. Y'all didn't hear me. It's a kind of willful ignorance. The innocence, as Baldwin says, is the crime. And it corroborates what he mercilessly describes as the monstrous quality of this country, embodied in our current political actors. At least one of them. Baldwin says there's something monstrous about never having been hurt, never having been made to bleed, never having lost anything, never having gained anything, because life is so beautiful. And in order to keep it beautiful, you're going to stay just the way you are, and you're not going to test your theory against all the possibilities outside. He says America is like that. The failure on our part to accept the reality of pain, of anguish, and of ambiguity, of death has turned us into a very peculiar and sometimes monstrous people. America is like Never Never Land, full of lost boys and lost girls. And what's so distinctive about Never Never Land? Nobody wants to be responsible for anything. And we have to bear the burden of it. What does it mean to listen to the advice that Baldwin gave those Harvard students? What does it mean to listen to Baldwin think about the paradox at the heart of educating black and brown children? What does it mean for you to be here trying to imagine yourselves in the most expansive of terms? One of the things I do know as a country boy from Moss Point, Mississippi, whose mama had her first baby in the 9th grade, didn't graduate from high school. Dad left early to go to Vietnam and came back home and scared the living daylights out of me from the very moment I took my first breath. What does it mean to imagine yourselves in the most expansive of terms and not be complicit with the world as it is? The thing is that the world conspires to make you small. And the question you have to answer every single day is, will you be complicit? And if you refuse to be complicit, if you refuse to believe what the world says about you, then you're reaching for higher forms of excellences. You're engaging in a self-cultivation. You're engaging in a self-cultivation. In the act of self-cultivation, in the pursuit of a more just world. The world conspires to make you small. The question is, will you be complicit? And if you refuse to be complicit, then I want you to act like John Coltrane. What is that? And what is that? If you refuse to be complicit, I want you to take giant steps. Have you ever listened to that introductory solo in Giant Steps? It's so complex. It's so beyond anything any of the musicians ever heard that when he finished, they didn't know what to do. The pianist is just tapping keys. If the world conspires to make you small and you refuse to be complicit and you take giant steps, leave the world flummoxed. That's one of Toni Morrison's favorite words. Step off the edge of the world like Denver and usher in a new reality.
Square. I am absolutely delighted today to be joined by Representative Jasmine Crockett, 6th District of Great State, Texas. She has become a rock star on Capitol Hill and beyond for speaking truth to power, for speaking as people speak in the real world and not in the sort of stilted Washington, my honorable colleagues stuff that really, I think most Americans sort of are disconnected with and kind of distrust. So, Representative Crockett, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. And I wanted to launch out on this by getting down to the business that's in front of Congress right now. We have got a real...
In tonight's WGN Investigates, a South Suburban school district with big bills and even more questions. Parents have been demanding answers for months now.
And WGN's Brona Tumulty is joining us now with more on this tonight. Brona.
Good evening, guys. We're talking about District 160. School officials in Country Club Hills have been unwilling to explain expenses relating to travel, meals and more. Now, we looked at the last 2.5 years of credit card statements and found other questionable charges. There may be some legitimate explanations for some of them, but district officials have declined to answer to parents, taxpayers, and us.
It's alarming for us. And we're saying that how do we have money for that? But we don't have anything that is beneficial to our children, to our students, in order for them to academically succeed.
Sequoia Williams is a parent in Country Club Hills and says she noticed problems from the get-go last year after enrolling her children in District 160.
I found out through staff members that a lot of the school administrators were put on leave that was over at the district office due to mismanagement of finances.
Since then, she's been a very vocal part of school board meetings, which is where we met her in May, as she and others spoke out at the podium.
Under Dr. Megan's leadership, this district has become a toxic environment.
But we cannot ignore the impact of failed leadership.
It seemed then the district's finances might need some scrutiny, so we started digging into the spending habits of Superintendent Dwayne Main and the rest of the board, namely former President and current Secretary Jacqueline Doss.
Because they are absolutely both a part of the issues.
Those issues are lengthy, but in just the last 2.5 years, district credit card reports in Main's name show hundreds of thousands of dollars spent on much more than just education. In fact, those reports show roughly $250,000 in charges at hotels, including the Hilton in New Orleans, the Bellagio in Vegas, and the Marriott in Atlanta.
They've taken sports away. They've taken like all of the extracurricular activities that our children have had. They've taken them away. And they keep telling us we don't have money.
Food-related expenses adding up to almost $130,000, with countless payments to DoorDash and Uber Eats, $3,500 spent at Cooper's Hawk in Orland Park, and thousands more at high-end steakhouses from DC to Napa.
We get that school boards will go out to eat. We get that they go and they converse about different things going on in the community, the schools, and things like that. It's egregious at this point.
The cost of getting to and from the likes of those restaurants and resorts climbing to almost $70,000 in airline charges, with occasional perks like onboard Wi-Fi and upgrades to TSA PreCheck. All that could be the tip of the iceberg. Things getting heated at last week's board meeting with news other credit cards may also be open in the district's name.
There's no way possible you can tell me we have another credit card with the money that we've spent on this.
From the reports we do have, Grand Transportation came in at almost $100,000. New board president Sharon Mack last week scolding use of what she called first-class service.
There's other methods of transportation that we can take. We don't have to go first class. Limousine service would be considered first service class. The Midway Airport, that's to be as ridiculous.
Mack only recently taken the reins from Doss, who isn't a fan of our cameras. She's been under scrutiny about a Ford F-150 truck, which she allegedly purchased from the district for $500. That money returned to her May 19th when she relinquished the vehicle. Per the district, it's worth a lot more.
The board would need to discuss this. I would continue to talk about with the attorneys. But as of right now, it looks like the only thing you can say is thank you for the donation.
Main previously claiming he knew nothing about it.
I didn't really know about the sale of the truck, but I do know that, that former President Doss was working, with the business manager regarding that.
But if you knew they were working on the transaction, then you were aware of the transaction.
And who signed the title in that transaction remains a mystery.
We need to see the title of the truck.
Both Doss and Main declined our interview requests via email, and we've since tried again in person.
It's Braun out at WGN. I spoke with him briefly beforehand. He said he would talk to us in the interims. And what about you, Ms. Doss? Can you speak with us?
I already told you no comment.
Okay, but we are trying to get interviews where you can get your side of the story, because there's expense reports.
No comment.
There's almost $9,000 in charges at the Bellagio.
No comment.
No comment. Okay, Mr. Main, have you ever stayed at the Bellagio? Do you know there's $20,000, more than $20,000 in hotel charges for December of 2024 alone?
Problems do go beyond the bottom line. Parents say safety is a major issue, citing problems with bus routes and a lack of crossing guards.
You can't have students walking across this road. I'm very serious. I wouldn't walk across it that way.
Security also top of mind. This man, per a school email, seemingly entering Meadowview Intermediate in April without permission and was then escorted off-site. According to the Illinois Report Card website, this district of just 3 schools has under 1,000 students, about 70% of whom are from low-income families and 3% are homeless. Enrollment numbers have been declining in recent years, and we're told they could be about to drop further because parents are demanding Mia moves on or they will.
We will not be enrolling our children until 2 things happen. Either Dr. Main is terminated or he resigns.
At the last meeting, the board did approve hiring a forensic accountant, and we're told future transactions such as those with the truck will be done in open forum. But it also emerged over the weekend that a special board meeting has been called for tomorrow night. Items on that agenda include the Ford truck again, the issues with the school buses, and all of those credit cards.
I've never seen a board member holding up a sheet to
The
cover
entire
their face.
time,
The
yeah.
entire time.
Yeah, it's so concerning that now we have done several stories about different entities or different municipalities where they're having issues with their credit cards and overspending. So it's interesting that now we're reporting on a second one.
Absolutely. It means we see what happens tomorrow. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I'm about to play 5 minutes. Featured Democratic leader, featured Congressman Troy Carter. Steering and Policy Committee co-chair in Washington Schultz. Annette Barragán of California. Okay. So today they were at a New Orleans country.
Billion for Medicare, putting millions of Americans, including many here in Louisiana, at risk of losing coverage, facing skyrocketing costs and
something happened.
All right, folks. So we have a technical issue, and so we're going to get that fixed. But I'm going to show you something, and see, this is why I'm really trying not. Y'all know I'm trying not to cuss, but this is my problem with that. You have a news conference. Did y'all get it straight? All right, okay. So you have a news conference in New Orleans that's represented by Troy Carter to raise the issue about the bill that's already been passed. At least go to my iPad. Y'all, this right here, this is the congressional district of Mike Johnson. As you see right here, Shreveport, Monroe, Alexandria, it extends all the way down south to Lake Charles. So that's Mike Johnson's district. Now, first of all, you see right here, you see how this carve out piece right here, this shows you how they gerrymander. Like, that makes no sense at all. Like, why wouldn't it be a straight shot top to bottom? But that's how they do these maps. Okay, here's my problem. If you're going to hold a news conference talking about the devastating effects of the bill, which Mike Johnson voted for, why don't you have it in his district? Why don't you literally go to either Lake Charles or Shreveport or Monroe and you hold this news conference so the local media in Mike Johnson's district can cover it. The organizations in Mike Johnson's district and ask them, and the churches in Mike Johnson's district, and say, I need y'all to challenge him on why did he vote on a bill that's going to hurt his district.
Mm-hmm.
Great. All five are standing there in New Orleans. Why? That's not his district. Ben, I said to Obama and his people, why do y'all keep going to suburban Ohio and suburban Maryland and suburban Virginia holding speeches and rallies touting the Affordable Care Act? I said, take that shit to the brokest, sickest, whitest, reddest district and say, I passed this bill for y'all because you are the brokest, you're the sickest, and you should be asking, why did your United States Senator and your U.S. Congressman vote against a bill when you are sick? Ben, your thought.
So that's Roland Martin's opinion, just not mine. There's some fudgesicles in there. They're good. Did you hear me? Okay. Mm-hmm. Because you got to figure it out, no matter how it works. You have to figure it out. Who is that? Mm-hmm. It's just real. I don't know. I've been on for about an hour and 13 minutes, and I was just out here trying to build capacity for my pod stream. So I'm over there on Spotify. And on Spotify, it is Parent Empowerment Half an Hour. But then here on Podbean, it is Citizen Anderson. But then over there on YouTube, just Darlene Anderson. But on Instagram, it's Darlene Anderson 1958. But get a clue. I'm only sharing the moments of empowerment in my life, my lifetime. And I understand that if the universe has something for you, you're going to get it. Doesn't matter how you see, but if you digging a hole for yourself, then goddamn it, you're going to get that too. Because I ain't got time to deal with you and your inadequacy, because I don't have those same inadequacies. I ain't searching, I ain't looking, and I know that I'm blessed and highly favored. So we just gonna keep on making this shit work like it's been working. Like to work it a little bit smoother, but it has been working. And in America, when you know who you are, then be who you want to be. Live life abundantly. Y'all, have a blessed day. This is Citizen Anderson or Darlene Anderson 198 or 1958, but Darlene Phillips Anderson over there on Facebook. Can't have any more friends. Got 5,000. Y'all, follow me.